Hi, this is Bobby Kimbrough, and welcome to Off the Cuffs again. I'm very excited today. I have with me Tommy Hicks from Truliant and Miss Renee Shipco. I tried. Don't hold that against me. I tried. I'm excited because for several reasons. We're going to have conversations about who they are, what they're doing in the community, and we're going to talk about financial literacy. How can we become more literate? Because a lot of times we're literate about a lot of things in our community that cause us to fall at the bottom of the list. And we're trying to change that narrative. So I want to welcome my guests to the show today, Tommy Hicks and Renee. Thank you for stopping by. So what I like to always do is that when we have guests here, we always allow them to tell us about who you are. Take a couple minutes, tell us who you are, how you got to where you are, because a lot of times people want to know your journey. How did you ascend to where you at? You know, people just show up and want to talk to us, but we don't even know who they are, and why should I listen to you? So thank you for being here.
Very good. Thank you. Again, I'm Tommy Hicks, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Piedmont Triad region of North Carolina for Truliant Federal Credit Union. And my banking career started in leadership at Wachovia Bank on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. So most people know me in East Winston as the friendly neighborhood banker.
Yeah.
And my career has spanned about 20 years now, mostly in branch management.
Wow.
I met you at BB&T, as you alluded to earlier, and we spent a few very pleasant conversations getting to know one another. And my career has landed me into this wonderful place where I get to impact people's lives through Truliant. Truliant's mission is improving lives, and they certainly do that in so many ways. And so it's wonderful to come to this portion of my career sort of at the twilight of my age. I'll be 55 on Thursday. And so you start looking at about 60 to retire and those kinds of things. And so it's wonderful to be able to give back to the community and be connected to such an organization that is focused on that chiefly.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Renee Rohrer. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at Truliant Federal Credit Union. I've been there 7 years. I've lived here in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County area since 1999. So before the downtown was hopping again, I lived here. And prior to my work at Truliant, I worked in the nonprofit sector, actually in fundraising and marketing with different nonprofits here in Forsyth County and in Davidson County as well. And I met you at the holiday parade through my volunteer work. And you had such an impact on me. It was raining, and you got out of your car and you said, if the people are going to stand in the rain to look at me, I'm going to walk in the rain with them. And that was, I still remember that. So thank you for having us today.
No, I appreciate you. So tell me, what does that entail, what you all do? I know what community means. I know what all that. But tell me, what do you exactly do? Because a lot of people say they do this in our communities. And I always ask the question, show me what you're doing. My father always said, let the work I've done speak for me. So tell me, what are you doing in the community to make it better? What does Truliant do in our community? I see you guys. You guys are right there on the hill, Patterson, that is, right? Yeah, sure. So educate me on what you guys do in the community.
Well, we have 4 focus areas, which we reach out to the community through. And they are youth and education, community development.
So you say youth and education. Give me an example.
Okay. Well, we work with organizations, even high schools.
Really?
To supply them with necessary materials that they may need, or even mentoring for students, should they need it, as well as financial literacy, financial education.
I didn't know that. So you're saying that if there's a youth program out there that needs help or needs somebody to talk to, mentoring, I can reach out to you, Miss Renee, or I can reach out to you, Tommy. Is that how this works? I mean, how?
Yeah, that is how it works. But more of what we try to do is work with the nonprofits who are working in those groups. So we do have a relationship with East Forsyth that Tommy was alluding to, East Forsyth High School in Kernersville. Where we are providing materials and financial education to students directly. But as he mentioned, mentoring, we work with Big Brothers Big Sisters here in Winston-Salem and some other organizations. Honorable Youth is another one. Winston-Salem Tiny Indians we've supported for them to do the work that they're doing as experts in the nonprofit field to directly impact the individuals.
So, I've got to say this. I believe in being transparent. I believe in sharing. The era in which I grew up in, I knew nothing about financial literacy. I didn't. I just knew my dad paid the bills. My mom went to work. They bought grocery. They gave me an allowance. So when I got grown and got on my own, I made some mistakes. We don't understand the power of credit. We don't. And I noticed that a lot of times in the Black and brown people of color communities, no one has really educated us about that. I remember reading a book some years ago and it talked about you got to have some knowledge. 3 basic things you got to have knowledge of self, knowledge of the environment which you live in, and economic knowledge. And so I think that a lot of times in the Black and brown communities, there's such a hardship because you don't have access to financial stability. You don't have access to financial mobility, right? You and I was talking before we started recording about how in certain parts of our communities, if you're born in poverty, you got an 80% chance of dying right there in poverty. That's sad. I saw where, 0 to 5, the children are basically going to bed hungry. That's sad. I saw one report that I got, what they call ACEs, situations, childhood, things that happen during childhood that affect people when they're adults, that happen more readily in the Black and brown communities. But then at the end of the day, the study that I was reading, it came down to financial access. What can you access? How much can you leverage? And so that's why I was excited to have a conversation with you all, because when I go through East Winston, I see Truliant, I see BB&T, I see mechanics and farmers, I see Wells Fargo, yeah, they're still there. I see State Employees Credit Union, right? And I always ask the question, with all these major financial institutions right there, are they just collecting money from the churches that generate money on Sundays? What are they doing in our communities that are going to make them more stable? Because my question is this: with all that money, all those financial giants having offices in that zip code, help me understand why so much devastation and tragedy, poverty is right there. I never understood that.
Well, there have been a number of reasons for that historically. But over the years, I have recently been appointed to the steering committee for the Choice Neighborhoods Initiative.
That's great.
And their chief focus is to improve the housing situation.
That's Mayor Jones' initiative?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Familiar with it.
That, as well as house.
Okay.
Initiative. But there has been such a focus on that because the theory back in the 60s was to put all poor people together in one little community together, and thus the housing project, the Cleveland Housing Project, was born and has existed until this day. And it is in sore need of repair, among many other things, but it has sort of perpetuated the cycle of poverty because we know that home ownership is connected directly to building wealth. And so if you can't be a homeowner, then it's not very likely that you are going to be able to build any wealth or be able to pass anything on to your children. Truliant does, as a part of its mission, try to build economic mobility by helping people to build their credit, improve their credit, and thereby to acquire, through better credit and saving money, the ability to be able to be a homeowner. It doesn't matter what size the house or what size the mortgage. The key is home ownership, having that property as part of your own to be able to have those necessary tax breaks or those opportunities that you have through home ownership that other people don't have. And so that's one of the things that we do.
You know, one of the things, before you jump in, Mr. Renee, it's something I've got to ask. You know, I'm asking it from both of you all, so you can keep the mic. This is an ask that I have. One of the things that I have learned in this position that I've been in as the sheriff is that God put me here for a moment. I realized that, right? And so in this moment that I'm placed in, my job is to leverage relationships, right? So now I'm finna leverage a relationship. I'm gonna ask you all to enter into a relationship with me on something. So every year we adopt a school. We do. We adopt a school. My first year in office, we adopted North Hills. This past year, because of the pandemic, we didn't. But the year's getting ready to start in August. And what I'm going to come to you all and ask of, I'm going to ask you to join me in adopting the school. And it's always usually a Title I school that is suffering and needs assistance. I'm going to ask you to partner with me on it. But then I must take it a step further. The previous superintendent, and I'm hoping that Ms. McManus, the current superintendent, and the school board allow me to do the same thing. They would allow me to come in every Thursday. I went in every Thursday, and for an hour, they allowed me to teach a leadership class with elementary kids, right? What I'm going to ask of you all is this, your community outreach, right? If I work it out and we leverage this relationship, we're going to adopt a school, and we're going to teach that group of kids financial literacy. And then we're going to take it a step further. What I have learned is that when we were working with those kids last year before, is that we were doing some amazing things with them, field trips, but it didn't really matter because they left the school or left their room and went back home. Well, I realized that if we didn't affect the home, that was just temporary for what we were doing. So what I'm going to ask of you all is to partner with me on is those parents that want to be involved, those parents that are willing to sit down, right? You're willing to help them and get them on their way. Because I will tell you firsthand, I know what a great score will do for you. I know what a bad score won't do for you. And I know the importance of homeownership. I get it. I understand it. And once you get it, you realize the game ain't that difficult now to having equity, to gaining financial mobility. You realize, okay, that's what the key is. And so I'm going to ask you all for that commitment. And I'm going to ask you on air, we're recording it, right? And we're going to hold you accountable now. So if you tell me no, if you tell me yes, when we knock at your door in July and say we cranking up in August, I'm going to be expecting Hicks and Miss Renee to say, let's go get it.
That's great. Thank you for
yes?
Yes. So thank you for extending that to
Y'all
us.
Got 'em, right?
Of course, we will do that. That's consistent with what Tommy does in the marketplace now. It's delivering financial education to any group really that approaches us or that we reach out to that is interested in that.
Really?
And one thing I want to add, Sheriff, is that one thing that sets Truliant apart than all those other banks and credit unions that you mentioned is that we are a low-income designated credit union, which means that most of our members, if not all, the majority of our membership has a household income less than $65,000, which still sounds like a lot for some people. But when you consider that most of our membership is made up of service industry folks, restaurant workers, manufacturing workers, I mean, we really are a blue collar type of credit union. And so Tommy alluded to some of what we do in the branches, which is working with people on their credit. But, what we see so often is generational financial illiteracy, where, to your point, parents don't like to talk about this. Actually, I read a study a few months ago that parents would rather talk about the birds and the bees than they would their finances.
That is so true.
And so it repeats, right? So people grow up and they don't know any different, and they go and cash their check at a cash, one of those quick places. Yeah, exactly. And that's, they're getting hit with really high interest rates. And so what our staff, our teams in the branches do is they actually they sit down with you. They'll go through your credit. They'll tell you, hey, here's what we need to do to increase your credit score. We have a credit builder program that we can work with them in. Tommy's familiar with that too. And That's sort of what sets us apart, we believe, from some of the other financial institutions in the market, especially downtown in the East Winston, North Winston area. So exactly what you're talking about, helping the families that are in a Title I school is right up our alley. We would love to partner with you on that.
We're going to do that. But what I didn't know was that Truliant helped those in that income range. I didn't know that, because what I have found out is that a lot of times when I talk to people all the time from all walks of life, and it's just amazing to me how different the conversations. I can go talk to the guy who owns several car lots in town, right? And then I can go talk to the guy right there standing on the corner at Chick-fil-A on Knollwood. He and I talk all the time, right? He looked forward to me coming through there on Fridays. I try to give him 20, right, to get him through the weekend. And what I'm amazed at is that everybody wants the same thing in life. They just want to be happy. They just want to have a little bit of the American dream, a little bit of the American pie, right? But sometimes things happen in life to where people can't get back up on their feet. So let's say here comes a mother in your branch. We have several women that work here in the sheriff's office, right? The office of the people. Single mothers that have had some bumps on their credit score. And let's say they come in your door and they're making about 60 grand, 65 grand, right? And their score is decent, right? But they've had some bumps and bruises along the way. And they have the down payment to get into a starter home that they want. They have the down payment, right? They have it. They've saved, whether it's what do you call them, the stimulus checks? They've saved their stimulus checks. Yeah. Tell the government I want one. I know, just joke. I know I ain't gonna get it. Just joking. But they've saved their stimulus checks. They have saved their income tax checks, and they're looking forward to one day. I had one of my officers tell me, I was sharing with them about moving into another home, right? And as I was walking out of the building, she said to me, Sheriff Kimbrough, you know what I've been promising my daughter? And I said, what is that? She said, we have lived in apartments all of her life. And I promised her that before she graduates from high school, she will have her own backyard. She said, my daughter has 2 more years in school. I got to figure this out. And she asked me, and I said, I know a lot of people, but I don't know people who will let you rent the buys, things like that, right? I don't know. I just don't. But I started thinking, and I was talking to her, and I said, I know about what she makes, right? You know, as an officer. I know just about what her income is a month. And so I asked her, and she said to me, I have the money for the down payment. I said, how much do you have saved up? And she said, I got about 7 grand saved, right, in my savings. And I said, well, a starter home, what, 10%? I mean, whatever the number is, if that, I just threw a high number out, if that, right? There are people out there that are looking for help, you know, home buyers. Can they come see y'all?
Absolutely, they can. We have a mortgage department that can help people in the way of getting ready credit-wise. Also, Truliant partners with a nonprofit, Financial Pathways of the Piedmont. That
never heard of that.
Yes. And it is an organization that also helps people to repair credit and getting ready for home ownership. So there's all sorts of avenues to helping people who have that down payment saved, but they aren't ready yet credit-wise. They need some coaching and some things that they can do to help repair their credit score to be ready for home ownership.
So what's a score that you got to have for you guys to go along?
I will be honest and say I don't recall the actual score, but I know that ours is lower than the banks require, because that's part of the credit union. We're trying to access and help the most people possible. But what I do know is, if in this scenario with a decent score or even a not as great score, we do have programs in place that where we can work with that individual to get their score up in a matter of months, 6 months or so that they are,
Really?
more attractive for that. We also have programs in place where the down payment isn't an issue. We have a 3% down payment. We've got programs where a down payment isn't even required. So, we have a lot of flexibility in that arena.
See y'all last month.
Yeah, well, please do. I mean, anyone that you
Too late
encounter,
now. Too late.
Well, anyone that you encounter with situations like that, we would love to help them.
So my question to you, right? Because I got several more. Go ahead,
I
Ms.
believe
Hicks.
that score, I had to really think about it, but I was on a segment with Neighbors for Better Neighborhoods where we had a mortgage expert, but I'm pretty sure he said 640 is the score.
640 is the number. 640 get you the mortgage.
I believe so, yes, sir.
So my question to you, right, to be a member of Truliant, can I walk in off the street and say I want to be a member?
Absolutely.
You can.
Yes, you can walk in off the street. We have free checking accounts, but to join Truliant, it's a $5 savings account that will be refunded to you if for some reason you're not happy with
You know what I'm going to do?
our credit union.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check with my lawyer and see can I do this, right? He usually says you the sheriff, you can do what you want to do, right? That's what he says, right? I don't know if he's trying to jam me up or not, but here's what I'm going to do. We have new orientation every month of people that we're hiring, right?
Wonderful.
I'm going to let you come and speak to our new orientation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let you open up an account with them if they want to, right? I'm going to let you come and speak to our new hirees when they come in our door.
Excellent.
Right? Because, people, when we first started this, people said, well, why do you want a podcast? My vision, it wasn't about me. It was about bringing people from all walks of life to share information, because every time I sit in front of somebody, I've learned so much from talking to people. I'm from Winston-Salem. I was born and raised here, left, came back. But there is so much about this city that I don't even know myself. There are so many things happening and so many people like you all that I don't even know. And when people ask me questions all the time, I think they think I'm a Yellow Pages or I'm the Google search guy. I don't have all the answers. But you all have no idea how your phone's going to ring off the hook now, because just in this office of the people, there are people who are trying to figure out, how do I buy my first home? Because we bring in young officers, ranging average hires about 20-something years old, right? Middle 20s. And their question is, how do I get my first vehicle to get to work? I've been driving a hoopty, right? And then, I've heard people, when I'm sitting around in conversations, and they hear my rent going up on the apartment. And I'll, how much is it? And they'll say like $1,100, $1,200. I said, you paying more than my house payment. And I'm saying, you paying $1,200 a month to rent when you could be owning it for that or less. And so when you were talking, I was saying to myself, how do I partner with you all? And that's why I asked the question about the schools. And then as you were talking, I said to myself, we got issues right here in my house. How about every new hire, I bring you to the table and give you a few minutes in front of our new hires and say, hey, this is Mr. Hicks, this is Mrs. Renee, and they're going to talk to you about financial literacy. They're going to talk to you about what their bank can do for you. They're going to talk to you about being a member. Here's the application. If you like to fill it out, fine. If you don't, fine. But I just want to have it available to you, because one day you're not going to be on the job. One day you're going to look back and say, I've been here 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and all we're trying to do is get you prepared for those changes in life. Almost like the commercial that you see. You see the man and woman they meet, then all of a sudden they flash to them, they're older, and they're gray, and then they're seniors, right? Me and you both, I'm 59, right? And so how amazing would that to be to catch our new hirees and let them grow financially with you? to have someone that when they have these issues that they can talk to, when they have these issues about how to build credit. That's just crazy. I like that. I like that.
That would be a beautiful partnership that we would welcome. And
Let's
I would
get
be
it.
your guy that would actually provide the financial literacy and the seminars that they would expose themselves to know how to improve their credit, to know how to be a better budgeter, to know how to be a person who is focused on saving, the things that help you to build momentum to come out of the state that you may be in, the stagnancy.
How soon will you be ready to do this?
I'm ready now. I'm ready today.
Y'all got him on paper, right? Okay. Okay. Because we got a new hire class I'm going to be getting ready to go to, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on the schedule.
Beautiful.
To come, talk to them, and give you about 10, 15 minutes, do your spiel, bring whatever you need, whatever you want to bring, and basically just say, here it is. And I'm going to tell them, have a good day. And I promise you, you're going to be surprised at what you're going to find, because I have these conversations, and what I'm realizing is that by me telling my story to people, it allows people to realize, you probably heard me say it many times, is that I lost some things in life. I lost my home, my first home. I lost it, right? Bad decisions, a lot of things, life happening to me. That cost me years of headaches, right? Mm-hmm. And then once I hit my feet again, I never stopped running, never stopped running. And so looking back over that and having shared that story with people, and I share it publicly, because the reporter asked me that when I started running. He said, how can we expect the people of this county to trust you with a $65 million budget when you lost, looking back through records, right? And I said, here's how they can trust me, because I've been tried. I understand. I know this. And then also I got a budget analyst. I got a team of people. I don't touch nothing. They tell me how much I got, what I need to do, and they forecast and do it all. But I learned something from that. Mm-hmm. I learned from that. And there are people all around us that have had financial hardship. Mm-hmm. There are people around us who are looking just for someone to give them knowledge. Because what I found out, knowledge is powerful.
Absolutely.
It's powerful.
And sometimes those mistakes that they've made, and the mistakes you've made, the mistakes I've made, we all have made, are the best teacher.
Oh my God, that'll preach. And that's so true, because now we're talking about this thing called financial. That's powerful. And so you all are God sent today, because I promise you, when I leave here, I'm going to go back to my office. I'm going to pick my phone up, and there's 3 people that work here I'm going to call. And I'm going to say, I got somebody you need to go see. I'm going to say, you need to go see Tommy Hicks at Truliant. So if you say your number so the people can have a number, I know I have your number as well, but I want you to say the number, how people can reach you, because I think it's something that needs to be said. I know you guys are located off of Patterson right there on Liberty. I don't know the exact address, but please share it with us.
Well, I can be reached at tommy.hicks@Truliant, TRULIANT, FCU, as in Federal Credit Union, .org. And they can reach out to me at that, and I can share information with them from there.
Yeah, and another option for your folks as well is to call our main line, which is 336-659-1955. And they can...
Can you say that number again?
Yeah, sure will. 336-659-1955. And they can actually look at or listen for the directory and ask for the, this is the downtown Winston-Salem location, the one that you're speaking of on Patterson. And that way they'll connect directly to our folks that are working right here in the downtown. So 2 ways to reach us. Mm-hmm.
So listen to this, right? I'm going to share something with you, all right? And I'm going to ask you all to be a part of it, because I think that when we have conversations like this, people can't say I never said it, right? So I had some guests from a hospital here, high-ranking officials from Novant. Got to call them out, right? And they told me that we were going to enter into a conversation and a partnership on how we can get certain trauma center in East Winston, right? And so when I meet people, organizations, institutions that I want to invite to that table, as I set this table, I want to invite y'all to the table because you all were part of the piece, right? If my mind serves me correctly, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me it wasn't you. The Gola Project, you were or not?
We were.
I knew you were.
We were.
I'm getting old, but I ain't got that old yet. I knew you were.
That's actually pre-Tommy, but yeah,
okay.
That's what, yeah. But we were involved with the Gola Development Corporation project initially, and then also the branch over there on Patterson, the one that we're speaking of today, used to be Victory Masonic Lodge Credit Union, which was also, it's in the building with Gola.
Right.
And that was a credit union that came to us that wanted to be part of Truliant. And with that merger, if you will, that happened, I want to say 2007, something like that. With that came the ability and the opportunity to serve the people of East and North Winston.
Wow.
So it was absolutely wonderful partnership. And actually, a couple of the folks from Gola are still active with the credit union on our associate advisory board also. So, yeah, we do have a deep history with that particular partnership. And it is one that we're very proud of. Mm-hmm.
So I've met 4 or 5 people that I think this table is ready to be set. And I'm going to set the invitations and I'm going to invite you all, Dr. Speaks and Chief of Staff and a few other people over there at Novant that said they were ready to have a conversation with me. And we're going to sit down and see how we can make this happen. And so I want you to all know how much I appreciate you being here. I do. Because one of the things that I believe that a lot of things that are social issues have the ability to become criminal issues. And if we don't address the social issues, then we're setting ourselves up for criminal issues. If we don't teach people how to fish, they'll steal the fish. We don't teach people how to live and do certain things, and we're setting our community up for failure. We're setting our community up for the statistics and the data that we're seeing every day, all the time, that are disturbing to you, me, regardless of where you live at. We still are part of this great thing we call Forsyth County. So I want you all to know how much I appreciate you all being here. You have no idea where I'm going with this, but I promise you all, you are truly serving a purpose in where we're going with this. I want to give you all the last word. Anything y'all want to say before we go? Anything you want to ask me? Anything you want to know?
Well, we certainly want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today on Off the Cuff with Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough. And we consider it a privilege and an honor to serve in the community with Truliant to help people to improve their lives. Again, that's the mission of Truliant, improving lives. And so we can't wait to get involved with you and to get about the business of doing just that.
I got to change y'all as my favorite banker. We
would like it.
I got to call Brian and say, Brian, I might have some new best friends, man.
Yeah, I'll just echo what Tommy said. Thank you for the time and the opportunity. And these partnerships sound fantastic. We would love to jump in and help.
Wow. Well, I appreciate y'all for being here off the cuffs. Thank you, Ms. Renee. Thank you, Mr. Hicks, for being here. As always, thank you for joining us as Off the Cuffs. Thank you very much.